Listen. Good evening, everyone. This is a pre-meeting to January 24, 2023. Everyone is welcome to be a part of our study session and planning. We thank you for being part of it. At this time, we will have our roll call.
Present. Commissioner Bernard.
Present.
Commissioner Ramos.
Present.
Commissioner Patton is here. Commissioner Boone. Commissioner Harvat. Commissioner Banky. And Commissioner Gonzalez.
Present.
Well, I did hear from Sister Pat Harvat. She is still recovering. Hopefully she'll be on Zoom with us tonight. So we'd like to excuse her in our next meeting. All right, so we do have to do our our old business that we're going to be conducting. Our subcommittee update is on the bylaws, and we will turn it over to our Commissioner Ramos to go over that.
Hello, everyone. I'm here to give you an update on the bylaws committee, and I do have paper copies. This also goes without it.
That's all of it. Take all of it.
Oh, okay.
All right, so we've done a number of meetings. Of course, our most recent one was last year. And of course, done this with a few different people. I think we do have something ready to submit, but I would like to hear some opinions. So of course, the red things are things that are being crossed out, removed. Purple, because I like it, are the corrections. During the beginning, of course, we have said Human Relations Commission added the and bylaws from just proposed to actually being bylaws. And as you go through, you'll see some cleaning up, such as making capitalizations in places where there weren't, adjusting some words because they're not quite correct. Some consistency with other parts, like you'll see in Article 3, where 9 is also then put in parentheses because that's done in a few other areas. And though there's something in the charter that states as much, I also felt it important to have in the bylaws. The commissioner must be resident of the city of Adrian to eliminate any confusion there. Some adjustments in some of the wording to make it less archaic, such as in the removal of officers, adjusting of words from reside to preside and a to the, and responsible for member orientation, etc. A couple of times you'll see this thing called the authority that's crossed out and replaced with the commission, as it should be. A particular spot that we did adjust just recently that wouldn't have been in the previous iterations is in the treasurer, putting a timeline of when the budget should be approved and submitted, as well as adjusting some wording to add secretary pro tem, which is why you'll see like section 7 needs to be section 8 now, 8 needs to be 9, etc. Again, you'll see moving of words that aren't quite correct, like the authority and director. Some discussion about changing the wording of how soon the agenda should be out. Some simplification of wording in section 6, quorum and voting. Down section 10, some some fixing of terms and some clarifying of expectations of board members. Teleconference was one of the more difficult ones that we've gone through a few iterations because the wording in the laws had actually changed a little bit. So you'll see this version that's in front of you now. There was a feeling among the committee that we should actually put into writing what our public comment is, since we've been operating on it for a few years now. Of course, as before, chairman, chairperson, etc. As we continue right through, you come to commission committees, which of course, they're committees, and some adjustment there. Of course, took out authority a little bit further from there. And then at the very end, you'll find a proposed date. So this would be as by how the bylaws are written currently. If we were to motion to have it on the agenda today, approve, well, motion for it to be on the agenda to talk about briefly, and then have it and the next one, then that's the soonest it could be. Of course, this would be amended to be March or whatever instead, if it takes us an additional month. We did have quite a bit of discussion this in our previous meeting and numerous other bylaw committee meetings. We actually have Bankay to thank for bringing a couple of documents from another Human Relations Commission for us to look at and consider as well. You will see a couple of little bits of that in here, though. I think that covers about everything. Is there anything either of the other committee members would like to state on the issue of what's in it so far?
I think we wanted to provide the opportunity for the rest of the commission to talk and give some feedback about the term of the chair. Because in our subcommittee group, there was some talk about that being potentially 2 years to align with a mayor's term for the chair as well. And then attendance feedback on that attendance piece as well. I know those were two of the bigger discussion items that we had in the subcommittee.
Yes, and along with that, so going to the term of the chair, of course, our terms are normally 3 years. There was discussion about maybe making the chair 2 years, which of course means you'd have to split that if something were to happen of them not choosing to be reappointed. Or we can continue on with the 1 year like we have and go through it every year. But it also means every one of your 3 years, you could be in a position. Along with that, there was discussion about how many times we're comfortable with someone missing before it actually matters. There's many commissions in the city and of nonprofits where if you're not there for a couple of meetings, they remove you. So there's some discussion about what do we consider to be the line here, considering we have 11 meetings a year. And also, of course, the importance of excused and unexcused absences. I think that about Carr's discussion, unless Bankay or Bernard would like to add to it. Otherwise, we would like some feedback from the rest of the commission.
I think we're more interested in finding out what the other commissioners have to say before we finalize anything, or just get the input. Because most of this we've had for a couple of months and we've been able to review it. Mr. Garcia probably, Commissioner Garcia probably would have less, Gonzalez, I'm sorry, Gonzalez, you probably didn't get as much time to review it as we have had. So.
I did get a chance to look at it as a whole. But just from what I see right here, am I wrong to say that it's kind of like grammarly, like we cleaned up some language, we changed some things, so.
For the most part, yes, exactly. There are a couple of key things we would like feedback on, but yeah, that's the majority of it.
Also, we have a couple of things that I would think we would try to add into it that we don't have now. And that is our city, the HRC Commission mission and also purpose. We put part of a paragraph in of the purpose. So I wanted to see what you all thought about. Let's look at the mission and the purpose again that we had from the beginning and see if we can incorporate that into our bylaws.
Was there any additional feedback, Commissioner Gonzalez? All right, I just want to make sure we didn't cut you off.
If I can ask, Michelle, because even though I go to all the planning commission and ZBA meetings and, I'm on the DDA, we don't really have attendance issues, so I don't even know. Is that something the other commissions that meet monthly have? I'm just curious because I don't actually know.
I believe there's something in the planning commission bylaws. I have to look. I know the city commission obviously has something in their bylaws. But I can look while you guys are meeting in the planning commission bylaws.
Okay, thanks. I didn't know just because I haven't seen it be a problem, so I didn't really know, but I know that I would just like to kind of try to keep it as closely aligned as possible. And I think this is very reasonable, but I just didn't know if there was something else out there. So I was curious. Thank you.
I know there is some discussion amongst us that the next step should also be the review from the city attorney to make sure that there is that alignment with the rest of the city operations as well. There was some discussion we had. I don't know if we wanted to, if we ended up putting in the bylaws or if it was going to just be part of our practices, that communication loop that would go to the city commission. Do you remember that discussion?
Yeah, we were talking about possibly putting it in there
Okay.
so it's clearer, defining the responsibilities.
Oh, I
So,
meant like, in the update for like what's happening each month so that the city commission's aware of, what we're doing, that sort of thing.
that was initiated by Commissioner Franks, wanting us to do something between time you're talking about, that the chair submits an update of information.
I think so. Yeah, I
Mhm.
think maybe that's what it was. So
Mhm.
the thought would be, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm probably wrong.
Okay,
That when you do your update, then
Mhm.
that you would also provide that copy of that update to the city commission so that they know what's going on if they didn't watch our full meeting or that sort of thing. Is that correct?
well,
That's how I understood it.
we were going to use the two commissioners that agreed to be a part of our commission to help us to get things going in the right direction. So we were supposed to send things to them.
Okay.
So that wouldn't be the whole entire commission, but we could do that if you would.
Well, I will
if you
say,
decided to do that.
it just for communication purposes, it may be really good if it does come from, it doesn't even have to be the chair, but if there's that communication, that monthly communication, maybe within a week after our meeting. A lot of times our meeting falls, it's not this time because there's 5 Mondays, but
Mhm.
typically it falls right before another
The day.
city commission meeting, but I just think that would be a nice piece to have, because there's that regular communication does come through, like DDA, things like that do get filtered through. They send it to Greg Elliott, who sends it out. So that's the idea. That's why I'm throwing this out there in his weekly report to the city commission. So the DDA, he'll update what the DDA did that week, or he'll update what what the planning commission, when they met that week, what happened at that meeting. So I think if you could just give, I don't know if that's where you delegate somebody, it doesn't necessarily have to fall on the chair. So it's not so much going on, but because that's something that the city administrator already does by reporting on the other commissions, and it's just not on the Human Relations Commission. So that might be a good piece for that, because they all look for that weekly report. We get lots of emails from other department heads and other people, but I'm telling you, that's the one they look for every Friday. And that is the one that we get all of our main information from, is that weekly report from the city administrator.
So are those completed by, you said department heads then?
No, it's all by him. It's just from him.
Okay.
He'll report on like what's happening in different
But
departments.
planning committee, Jeremiah gives it to him.
Yeah, I don't know if he gives it to him or it's just because Greg is a part of that as well, the city administrator. He sits in on those meetings. But yes, the chair of the DDA, because Greg does not sit in on those meetings, the chair of that does give that to Greg and then he reports on where it's going with the DDA. Well, now it's not the chair anymore. Now we have a Main Street director. Now it is a city employee basically because we have a Main Street director. So it is coming from J Marks now, not from Dusty Steele like it used to. But yes, it was the chair up until then, yes.
Okay, so the most important thing is the information is coming to the chair. But one of the things that we do have in our bylaws is the executive committee, which we have not actually implemented at all. We've never had just the executive committee, which is the officers. And so what between the meetings, that group is supposed to be taking care of all the business of the commission, this commission. So we don't really have a report to give every week, but we do have something that we can update if something does happen or something has been lingering and it was settled, then we can report on that. And it has been the chair that's been doing that. Yes.
And it's monthly. It's not every week. He gives us a Friday report every week, but that's separate. It's just after the planning commission met for that month. They only meet once a month unless they have a special meeting, or after the DDA met that once a month. So it's not every week we get a report from all of those. It's just
Prior
that
to your
week.
meeting.
It's prior, it's after, it's just after that group meets that month. That's when we get it in our report.
Okay, so the report that I would do or I have done would be after we had our meeting with the new commissioners. And then after we had our meeting with the bylaws committee, an update was sent to you all. This was a week before the meeting. So I've been doing that since I think it started like June of last year. So each month, at least within 2 weeks before or a week just before, I do an update on information that has transpired since the last meeting.
Right.
Okay.
So, and I guess that was kind of our discussion was
Mhm.
that's really great information
Mhm.
for the chair to share. But then can we get that to, who do we get that to so that
can
that can
send
be
it to-
communicated to the rest of the
Right.
commission? So we'll send that to Mr. Elliott and then he can distribute to the rest of the components. Then the question was, do we just make that as part of the practices for the chair? Or do we, do we want?
Or that the commission reports to.
Right,
and
yeah.
Whoever, if the chair doesn't do it, I still think the chair could still do it, but if we put the implementation of the executive board, then the board would be feeding that information, and then we would report it out.
Uh-huh.
So
So,
we only need one person to report that.
so are we looking for it to be something added to the bylaws or something that we do in our
Yes.
practices?
Yes, we want to add it to the bylaws.
Okay. Are there any other commissioners' feelings on this?
Well, we're not going to vote on it, but it's just comments right now. You said,
Yeah, so I'm asking if anyone else has feelings on it.
I
yeah,
have a comment. I got two. So I'm just taking a look through it. This just for clarity. Is there a reason in the attendance for a person or commissioner to inform the chair and the vice chair?
say that again, I'm sorry.
Is there a reason why a commissioner should inform the chair and the vice chair?
The idea is more of if the chair is already starting to get things ready for the meeting, the vice chair can be communicated to let the chair know. The idea is hopefully you'll be communicating with the chair, but also there's a chance the chair might be out sick. So that's just in there, just in case, but.
Would it read better if it's to commissioner shall inform the chair or vice chair or chair?
Well, the reason we put both, because couple of times people communicated with me after I was here at the meeting.
Okay.
And then the vice chair had received, or someone else in our group had heard from that person. So they let me know that they had heard. But what we're trying to do is accountability so that the commission knows ahead of time whether we have a quorum that's going to be present or we're not going to have a quorum. Because last year we lost 2 meetings because we didn't have quorums. So it's really just making the persons, our commissioners, responsible so that they communicate prior to the meeting. So we know that we do have a quorum or we don't have a quorum. And that the person is an excused absence or not excused. So that's some of the conversation we had at our meeting, was whether or not we should keep excusing people if we haven't heard from them. So that's one of the things that we discussed. So that was one of the reasons why we put that there, so that there's 2 people that you're communicating with, or at least texting or emailing to let us know. And we chose the president, chair, and the vice chair because they have to be present at the meetings anyway,
Okay.
in case other people are not.
But yeah, we did have a lengthy discussion of if we wanted to be and or, and if you have input, we'll still take that. But that is something that we did debate for a while as well.
Okay. And my second question was in the secretarial position.
The secretary's position?
Yes. All right. It says that the secretary shall attend all meetings. And then in the secretary pro tem, it says the secretary pro tem shall attend all meetings, and then take over the secretarial duties if the secretary is not present or unavailable. So I'm just a little bit lost with all meetings in both categories. It's
Yeah.
expected that they'll be at every single meeting so that the pro tem will never need to take over secretarial.
That's the expectation of all officer positions, that the person will be there at every single meeting. That's really the hope for every commissioner. Yeah, and the secretary pro tem's there is just in case, because sometimes things happen.
But I see where the confusion is when you say all.
Yeah.
And I think we could just eliminate the all, unless we put it in everybody's responsibility for all meetings, because there's times where they cannot be. Because our secretary was missing for a couple of months because of medical reasons. So, you know, any of us could be at that point. So we can just reword it to take the all out. Attend meetings, or we don't even have to have that in there because they're part of the commission. All of the commissioners and the officers have to be part of the commission, all of the officers.
But there's still a need for a clarification what someone's duties are. And if we're only saying they can have a couple of unexcused, then you might want to lean towards maybe all possible or something along those lines.
Or just drop the all. And if you just drop the word all, it just will take care of what you're saying, right?
Yes.
What you're referring to.
Yeah, or I put that it is expected that the secretary will attend city HRC meetings.
The secretary will record
It will record
all
this. Well,
all meetings.
let me see.
So if the secretary is not there, then the secretary pro tem will be the person that will be in place. Is that what you're meaning?
I got lost my sheet. Sorry, give me 1 second.
So it's the recording secretary shall attend all meetings. Or we can say, instead of attend all meetings, she will record or keep the minutes, something of that nature, instead of all
Oh, yeah.
attending. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I just see discrepancies with the term all.
Okay,
Because if it's mandated that they be at every single meeting, then it kind of undoes the role of the pro tem.
right. So we can restructure that.
That's also where the assistant secretarial duties come in as well, because sometimes secretaries need a little bit of help with one part of it or another. And that's part of the idea of a pro tem as well.
Michelle, did you happen to find anything just out of curiosity?
Yes, I'll read it to you. Hang on. Says, the bylaws of the planning commission say member absences, any member of the commission with the exception of an ex officio member who is absent from 3 consecutive meetings or any 4 meetings within a calendar year without being excused by the chair may be removed for cause.
That's good wording. Except because what we were saying is a little different. We were removing them without, even if they were excused absences, right?
It depended on how many according to this. If someone missed 1/3 of meetings, which is what 4 would be, then yeah.
So then it would be up to the commission to decide at that point whether that person stays or not.
Yeah, according to this, the HRC would recommend them be removed if that is what they so choose, and then it would go to the city commission. The city commission would make that choice.
The other discussion that we had that I would like, if you finish with that area, was the subcommittee use of the word subcommittee. I just want you to know that it is in the Robert's Rules of Order, using the word subcommittee. So I would like to include that in our bylaws, that we have subcommittees. Subcommittee is just a group that is part of the committee, but it is not the regular.
I personally do still disagree with that. I think it's been written as committee and we should stick with committee. And they're not the sub of a committee, they're the committee of commissioners, which of course commission and committee are a little bit different, though I would like to know what the other city bylaws say, so planning commission, etc. Because maybe it is worth looking at being more consistent with the rest of the city does, if the city is consistent in that.
Well, I don't think what we're talking about is the rules of Robert's Rules of Order. It is allowed to use subcommittee with a different group that is not our regular committee.
And is the term committee not allowed by Robert's rules?
It's subcommittee is connected,
But is committee not allowed? I thought it was fine.
because it is allowed.
Are you saying with, I'm confused, so I'm just asking, do you mean with people outside of the HRC?
No.
Mm-mm.
No,
Sub-
we're talking about things like
subcommittee
the
is part-
bylaws committee,
That's what I was-
where it is a few of us put
I
in.
started to get confused, that's why I was asking. Yeah, I'm on the DDA. I can't speak for the planning commission, even though I go to all their meetings. I don't even know if they have committees really outside of just the planning commission, honestly. But on the DDA, they're all called committees. Like there's the publicity committee, there's the, I can't think of any of them right now, but other than publicity, but there's 4 committees and that's the main 4 committees. And I know they're called committees, but that's all I know on that. And like I said, if the planning commission's ever had committees, I just don't know, but I'm not on it. So maybe that's why I don't know.
The clarity is that it is allowed in Robert's Rules of Order, and it isn't changing and making it a new thing. It's part of a subcommittee is just under the regular committee.
I know, but why do you need that? I guess I'm confused by that because I feel like if there's we're already so small, which is probably why we don't really have subcommittees on most of any of our commissions for that reason, because our committees within the commission are already so tiny to begin with. I guess I'm just asking why you would need that clarification. That's my question.
I think the question is it called a committee or a subcommittee? So where does it become institutionalized? And I guess that becomes maybe the other question of
Yeah.
if it's listed out there somewhere and that's the common language or not.
It's listed in the planning commission bylaws as committees. That
Committee.
helps.
Yeah, I read through our rules here, or at least the ordinance, and it doesn't say anything about committees or subcommittees.
And given this was meant to be a cleanup, if there's no real reason to change committee, I don't really see any reason to do it.
I'd say if planning commissions with committee, then tomato, tomato.
I mean, I think they're the same thing. That's how I feel too as well. And like, I know DDA, we call them committees. And I mean, sometimes they'll say, well, that's subcommittee, but it's listed as committee. It's not listed as that. I think it's just, we're used to saying things like that. But I will say on this, I thank you for the time and effort that have been put into these bylaws. It looks really great, and it just brings a lot of clarity. It brings it's great to have a living, breathing document to look at and to have this to refer to for the reference, and just to have many things that may have not have been passed or said in the past, and now have it all written down where people can refer to it, and we've got this living document. So thank you for all the hard work you've put into it. It looks amazing, and I'm very excited about this.
Any further comments on this document?
Yes. We want to identify the job responsibilities of each of the categories of officers. Like the chair, we also have the chair is duties and responsibilities. Do we want to outline them, each one of them, so that they're part of our bylaws? Or do we just want to leave it like it is now? We come up with whatever we come up with. For example.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what do you mean?
Because
Because I felt like it does outline
The
it.
chair is responsible for preparing agendas and submitting those agendas. The treasurer is responsible for communication with the city administrator to send reports and to do an annual audit with the city. So those are jobs that are part of this. And also we have them reporting every month. And we don't need a report every month for the budget. After we have an expenditure, we could have a report. So that would not be. Also, the Secretary Pro Tem, we gave responsibilities in helping to assist the secretary in doing the roll call, and also helping to take minutes during the meeting. So clarifying exactly role responsibilities.
I guess I'm confused. What are you saying about the treasurer? I'm just asking for clarity on that part of it. They don't need to present a monthly. I think they do, because I know from serving on DDA, we have to, even if we've spent nothing that month and there's been zero change, which happens a lot, by the way. We still have that statement, and I think that's pretty important, I guess. Is that what you were saying? You didn't think they needed to? Because I think you do need to still have that. But I do agree that I do think, even though it says shall preside at all meetings of the commission, maybe even for the chair saying something to the point that must ask for agenda items and give a specific timeline before the meeting from the commission members of what you would like on the agenda. And then maybe having in there as well that it must be submitted to Michelle Dewey, don't put her name in there, but to put it to the city by a certain timeline. I know you're really good at that, but I would rather have it in writing because you're very good at doing that. But I want it in writing so that the next person or anybody else knows how to do that and the timeline that she needs and has to have for getting it ready and getting it out there to the public for public notice. So, I think you really should probably have that, but I also think there should be something in there about not just soliciting things for the agenda, but that, having, maybe there's something in there where all commissioners, if you want anything on the agenda, have to have it in by a certain timeline ahead of that meeting. Maybe, I don't know how to put that in there, but I'm just throwing that out there.
We
That's
have that discussion.
because that's something that even we do. There's a timeline that for setting the agenda for city commission meetings that department heads and any commissioners or anybody that wants anything has to have it to Greg Elliott, our city administrator, by a certain time, or myself. And then city administrator Greg Elliott and myself have to meet at a certain time before to get it all set. Because it has to have enough time for public notice. So we have all that. It's just something we do. It's probably not even in writing for us, but we've just, gotten that word out. But I think that would be a good idea to have in writing for this.
And this could be something, I guess the difference between bylaws and practices or procedures that with the executive committee meeting, do you guys meet and establish these are our procedures, and then this way here it can just be updated real quick rather than having to go through a whole big bylaw revision again.
But I still think I do agree when it comes to Commissioner or Chair Bernard saying, maybe within chairperson just saying that getting, it doesn't, maybe not the date, not the specifics, but that they do have to turn in the agenda to the city. Because that is something that they are responsible for. All the chairs of all the committees have to do that, of all the commissions, have to do that anyway. So maybe add that one on there, but not in the specifics. And that is something the exec committee could do. Great idea, Commissioner Binky.
So turning that back to our chair, what timeline would you like to have added in there?
We did have that discussion in our meeting, and our discussion was that we have 10 days prior to a meeting that we would have you submit any agenda items. I am a week before the meeting submitting it to the city to be placed on the agenda. Information is put on the website for anyone to have prior to. So as far as the meeting itself, notifications of the meetings are already here for special meetings and also our regular meetings. That's something that we talked about, and I received one this past month, one request, which was already part of the agenda. So if we're going to do procedures, which is separate from the bylaws, then we have to identify everything that we are doing in order for that to happen. So that would be a different committee, right? Mayor, that's what you were speaking about, procedural.
Yeah, and on that, I don't even know if this is plausible as I say this, but I'm wondering if it's a week ahead for like department heads to get things in for like the city commission. It's basically it's almost exactly a week ahead. I mean, they have like a few hours short of that, but I'm wondering if it would even be plausible for like the exec committee to meet 1 week ahead. So you have to have it in and then they meet So you have to have it in a week before a meeting, but they meet within like a day or so, because that's still like 5 days ahead of the meeting, which is plenty of time for the city to public notice and do that. But I don't even know if that's doable. I'm just throwing that out there. 10 days sounds,
Executive committee?
yeah, because 10 days sounds fine, but I think things can really change in 10 days. That seems really far out. So it kind of makes me nervous, but then maybe I'm just thinking of city commission that we meet every 2 weeks. So to me, that seems really far out, and maybe it really wouldn't be since we only meet every month. So I just know we don't get things in that far out, even with DDA necessarily. So I don't know. I'm just thinking, I'm playing that other part of thinking like what might come up, or is that really far out? But maybe that's very plausible just because it is a monthly meeting. I don't know.
Okay, the executive committee, we've never had a separate committee meeting. So with that in mind, you would do it prior to the 10 days, if we're giving them 10 days to do it. So if we're going to stick with the 10 days, giving the opportunity to address that, the executive committee should meet before.
And I guess part of that becomes, I'm not an officer, so I'm fine that that's one less meeting I need to attend, but the officers who are here, now that you're signing up for all meetings, is that the way you want to go as well? Because definitely
think that-
approving these, I don't want to make more work for other people that isn't me.
How I understood it, and Mayor, please correct me, is they have to have the information by day 7, but they have to meet like day 5 before the meeting.
So they just have to have their stuff in, and then it's something where right now where like whoever that chair, so like right now with DDA, the chair and the Main Street director meet with their exec committee, like they meet about 1 week ahead. I'm not really sure exactly when they meet because I think it changes off and on, but they just have to have it in, you need to make sure you have it into the city with plenty of time. So I would say don't cut it any shorter than a 5-day time frame for getting it into the city when it comes to publishing your agenda and everything like that. But another thing too, this isn't something where you have to have another in-person meeting with the exec committee. This could be something where you're discussing it. Maybe it's like a 4-way phone call, or it's a something,
allowed to?
or email to set your agenda. Yeah, if you're not making a decision with a quorum, if you don't have a quorum. So if you're gonna have the secretary, you can't have the secretary pro tem in on that if you're doing that for the exec, because you'd have too many.
Right, exactly.
Well, what I meant is the stuff has to be to you and Greg at day 7, but you and Greg would then meet after that has been submitted to you.
Correct. For a
So
regular city
then-
commission meeting, correct.
So then the executive committee would probably want to meet after the 10 days when they have the information collected.
Correct.
Why would they meet after?
Because everybody would have their stuff turned in, like if they had any ideas. So if Commissioner Gonzalez was like, I have I'd like to put something on the agenda, and they submits it. And, but he's not on the executive committee, then they can, decide if they're, what they're doing. So it's just it gives you, if you don't have a cutoff, how you already asked now for things for the agendas or anything you want on the agenda. But then they at least gives you, time for so everybody turns what they want in on the agenda, commissioners or department heads, and then Greg and I meet and set the agenda. So it would be similar to that setup. That also happens on the DDA. I know that as well. With their Main Street director and their chair.
Okay, so each department is actually submitting something for your.
If they have it, a lot of times they don't.
But I'm saying we don't have that concern because most of the agenda is set.
But the things
Prior.
that being submitted would be things like, I would like this add to the agenda. If that's done on day 10 and we meet on day 11, then they didn't get to submit it in time for us to consider it. Well, if we meet like 1-2 days after that cutoff, then we get to discuss the things that they had submitted and decide to put that on or not.
Okay, so what you're saying is not wrong. I'm just saying you're adding more work for the chair and the executive board. If you're telling them to wait to meet 5 days before or 7 days before the next meeting, you're jamming them into 3 weeks that they could have met before and sent out the update. Because see, you still got to send out an update on what has transpired, not just the agenda.
Well, and it could just be, I mean, I don't know what you want to do, since we're talking about the bylaws, but it could just be where I would like to see this on the agenda. I'm Commissioner Gonzalez. I want to see this on the agenda. I'm Commissioner Patton. I want to see this on the agenda. That's literally how it works on the DDA, because I'm on there. It's how it works on the city commission. You know, that they'll say, hey, I'd like to see if we can get this on the agenda. And as long as there's time, that's the only time where it's been an issue sometimes of maybe we can't get it on that agenda because there's not time. And I'm talking a pre-meeting agenda, not a regular meeting. Typically, there's going to be time for that. But your pre-meeting is limited by a time frame sometimes, and there might be so many items that were all being asked to be discussed. It may have to get put off. But as a whole, I don't know if you really do need the executive committee to meet again to decide that. As long as, you get it submitted, it can be on there as long as there is time.
Okay, so the discussion that we're having about the executive committee job responsibilities, we could do that prior to. The 10-day time is just giving you all time to get that information to them, and they go through it and then submit it. You still have time, but you can also, in any meeting, we can ask for something to be added to the agenda.
You
So
can,
we
but just
already-
for transparency, it's always better if you can have it out there. I mean, we do it too at the city commission meetings. We do it at the DDA meetings. I've seen them do it at the planning commission meetings where they've sometimes had to change, but for transparency, for public notice, for everyone to know what's going to be discussed, it's better. It's not mandated, but it's better if we're not changing the agenda before a meeting as much as possible. It's just better practice. So it would be better if we could, make sure that we're getting things in. Yes, if we need to change it, we do, and things come up. And there's been times it happens with us. Even a department head for the city commission will say, I want this resolution. And then they'll say, oh, we didn't get everything we needed for it. We don't have it ready. You need to pull it. It happens. And things like that happen. But I think it is better as a whole if we can get it on the agenda and there's, make that a responsibility. Everybody, if you want something on the agenda, you give them a time frame, 10 days out, you need to make sure that you've submitted that. If it's something though that comes up within that 10 days before the meeting, then I'll by all means, or if something happens, that it can always be amended. That is true.
So never having had a executive session, do we feel that we need one?
If the parameters are a call or something, I can do that. I can't necessarily commit to running here for a 2-hour meeting in addition to my current meetings, but a call of half an hour with another couple of executive committee members, I know I could commit to that.
You just have to make sure you don't have quorum. That's where you got to make sure. So if you did the secretary, the treasurer, the vice chair, and the chair,
Well, let me say.
that's not
one
quorum, so you're
In
okay.
terms of the agenda part. We had this discussion during the board, our meeting. And what we did say, or I did say, is that I would send out an email to each of the members to let them know that I'm putting the agenda together and if they had anything that they would like to submit. I think that's part of something that is easiest to do without having to make that part of the executive committee's responsibility. So the chair or the vice chair, if the chair is not available, the chair will make sure that I submit that to them, and I received one this time. Maybe if everybody knows, and then I do submit at least a week ahead of time to the city, my agenda for this meeting, these meetings. So if we have any questions or concerns, since that is the responsibility of the chair, that the chair continue to do that.
I'd also like to ask about the report part. So if we're giving a regular report to the city, who's in charge of the executive committee? Is that on the secretary? Is that on the chair? How, and do we want that in the bylaws or do we want that put in procedures?
We're going to do it in procedures because you're going to have to outline exactly what is going to be done. So procedurally, we'll have to put that there. And I still think that one person is, you don't need 3 people or 4 people to submit that report. And we can decide who does the report. More than likely the chair.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, most of the things we have gone over as possible changes, actually, we feel would prefer to have in a procedures document instead. Is that correct?
No,
I think that setting, making sure that the agenda is submitted to the city needs to be in as a duty of that chair. Yes, I think that needs to be there. But yes, like Commissioner Banky referred to, I think there were certain, like when we were getting more to the nitty gritty of it, that could be more in the procedural and not necessarily needing to be in the bylaws.
Right, well,
Oh,
and
let me
all the stuff that's in here before us would be changes in the bylaws, so keeping this, yeah.
Yes, just in addition to the things here, because like this already states the chairperson in the agenda instead of in the chairperson area. The chairperson shall prepare the agenda for all meetings submitted at least prior, et cetera. That's not in the chairperson part, but that's in the agenda part. Do we feel that also needs to be in the chairperson part, or is that satisfactory there? And are there other additional edits or specifically for these bylaws, or were we thinking that most of those additional edits would go into the procedures?
actually, our discussion that we had was part of the agenda, section 5, which is the chairperson shall prepare. So that clarity would be under procedures.
Yep, and that's where the clarity could come, that it also has to be just submitted to the city by a certain time, because I don't see that in there. I just see to the commission members.
Right. So our time is almost up. We have 7 minutes left before our meeting will close out. If we would like to continue this discussion, we can bring it back up and finish it up and make the corrections that we have had suggestions on.
So I just want clarity on this. Are we, I just really would like to see this. I know it's something that's been being worked on for a very long time. Is this something for sure that we look like we can go ahead so that we can vote on it in February as planned?
I think we probably can vote on it in March
Why not February? Why not February?
because we have to see what's going to be procedural, that we don't have to have it in here in the bylaws, and also to make corrections on some of the things that we've discussed tonight, the alls. And so if
I still think if we, in my opinion, if we had it before then, since we've gotten really into, this is like the most in-depth we've like really dug into this, I feel like as a commission tonight. And I feel like since that's just going to be some minor changes and it's things we can look over ahead of time, and even discuss at the next pre-meeting, I feel I feel pretty confident that we could vote on it in the February meeting, because I really would like to see these bylaws be in there, but that's my opinion, just throwing that out there.
I feel very similarly, especially after having looked at these for so long and making numerous changes and then changes to those changes to where we are now. Besides a couple small things, which I think we've hit on, I think we can move forward with this.
I'm still
In February.
recommending that we look at the mission statement for this group and the purpose, and to somehow combine it before we try to finalize this, because that needs to be in the bylaws. That has to be in the bylaws. There's a couple other things that I looked at since our meeting that need to go into the bylaws that we voted on. And I don't think we corrected all of those. And maybe we need to take that little time. We rushed through, 1 month is not gonna hurt us to really look at it and make sure that everything is correct. So that means just one more meeting with the bylaws committee, finalizing everything, and
Right.
then bringing a clear copy back to the group in February.
My suggestion would be that through the strategic planning process,
Mhm.
that's generally when you work on your purpose and mission statements. So we could always move forward with this with the existing purpose, move through strategic planning, which I think is not going to take a month. And then always make an addition to that at a later date as well.
Yeah, because I see your bylaws as being your bylaws are your like to-do list, like of like what your duties are. I mean, like, this is what your duty is, this is what your duty is on this group. And this is what it's those exact parameters of what each person is supposed to be doing within it. I feel the mission and purpose is part of your strategic planning, just as Commissioner Binky said. Like, that's kind of a different, you can still put your mission, we can put the mission statement at the beginning of the bylaws, but I don't see how it will affect the day-to-day duties necessarily of the exec committee or most of what is in here. I don't really see it changing like annual meetings and regular meetings and things like that. So I guess.
I just would like to say that while some of this is new to me, believe it or not, this is very similar to any work instruction, in-depth operations manual for anything. And the way I look at this mission statement, vision statement, things like that, I imagine these as all separate chapters of the same book. While we're approving this based on grammar and some small things, the procedures and stuff like that is just something that's the next chapter. I feel like we can move on this next month just with the understanding with this chapter, or any of the other things that we're gonna do, we would make amendments, maybe because of a grammar issue, or we'd like to add something. But as far as to try to close out this chapter, I feel like we can do so.
And let me say that it won't close the chapter out if you're going to clean up the paperwork. Paperwork is very important. Each one of you do not have a clean copy of everything that we've discussed, not even tonight. So what's the rush to do it next month? Just to have it, because we are already operating by this bylaws. The only thing we're doing is clearing it up and cleaning it up and adding things onto this document that we're already operating under. This is not a new document. So to take another month would be, we give you a clean copy in February and we can put it on the agenda for March and we can vote on it. So everything would be already set. That's my thinking. So if we want to just vote on it next month, we can just do that. But I still think it's just better to have a clean copy.
Commissioner Ramos, can you provide us with a clean copy between now and our next meeting so we can review that and then?
Yes, I could definitely provide a clean copy with the adjustments made, the correct colors and all that fun jazz. And have that before next month, and I think it would be ready to be voted on at that point. Is there any further on this, or shall we move on to our next thing?
Well, our time is up. If we want to take 5 minutes,
Still have to do public comment.
Is that acceptable to you, Commissioner Bernard?
yeah,
Okay.
what we just said, yes. So I'm going to open it up for public comment at this time. Any on Zoom? If not, we'd like to close it out. I'd like a motion to close out this meeting, pre-meeting.
I motion to adjourn the pre-meeting.
All in favor? Do I have a second?
A second, I second that.
All in favor?
I.
Aye.
Let's take 5 minutes and we'll be back at 6 after.
Recording in progress.
Good evening, everyone. Human Relations Commission meeting is called to order. We will have the roll call. The Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. All right, we'll have the roll call at this time.
Mayor Heath,
Present.
Commissioner Bernard,
Present.
Commissioner Ramos,
Present.
Commissioner Patton. Present. Commissioner Boone,
Present.
Commissioner Harvat. Absent.
Excuse.
Okay. Commissioner Banky
Present.
and Commissioner Gonzalez.
Present.
All commission members present with the exception of Commissioner Harvat.
At this time, I'd like to have a motion to excuse Commissioner Harvat.
So moved.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Commissioner Bernard,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramos,
Yes.
Commissioner Patton. Commissioner Boone,
Yes.
Commissioner Banky,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mayor Heath.
Yes.
The motion to excuse Commissioner Harvat is approved by an all yes vote.
All right, our minutes, approval for our November 22nd, 2022. I need a motion to accept the minutes.
So moved.
I second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Ramos,
Yes.
Commissioner Patton. Commissioner Boone,
Yes.
Commissioner Banky,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mayor Heath,
Yes.
Commissioner Bernard.
Yes.
Minutes approved by unanimous vote.
Are there any additions to the regular agenda tonight? Hearing none. I'd like a motion to approve the regular meeting agenda.
I motion to approve the regular meeting agenda.
Questionable.
Second,
Yeah, I'll second.
roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Patton. Yes. Commissioner Boone,
Yes.
Commissioner Banky,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mayor Heath,
Yes.
Commissioner Bernard,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramos,
Yes.
meeting agenda approved by an all yes vote.
Treasurer's report.
Treasury report, HRC budget 2022-2023 was 2,300. Expenses on October 15th for the trauma training at the Weber Center was $190.47, leaving a balance of $2,109.53. The drafted 2023-2024 budget, training and education workshop, 2,000. HRC committee training, 1,000. Attend other conferences or workshops, 500 to 1,000. Purchase educational material, 200. Contractual payments, $25 per hour for 12 hours, $300. The total requested amount is 4,500.
So that's the budget that we would like to submit to the city for consideration. We said we would vote on it this meeting to approve the budget for 2023-24.
And I will report back after budget meetings, which are going to be ongoing now for many months because of the fiscal year is not until July 1st at the beginning of that, but we are beginning budget talks here coming up in the near future. So I will update after we have submitted as that goes on. Okay.
So I need a roll call vote on motion first to approve the budget that we put together for 23-24.
So move.
I second.
Roll call vote, please.
He was second.
Commissioner Ramos was second.
Ramos.
He did the first.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Boone,
Yes.
Commissioner Banky,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mayor Heath,
Yes.
Commissioner Bernard,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramos,
Yes.
Commissioner Patton.
Yes.
The motion to approve the budget, the 2023-2024 budget was approved by an all yes vote.
And that needs to be submitted as soon as possible. You want me to submit it to the city or you want to do it
If we could do it together, I can learn the
to
process.
the administrator,
Yes.
city administrator? All right, old business. Our first order is the yearly schedule approval. I think we want to wait until we've had the strategic planning meeting before we approve this schedule, our yearly schedule that we talked about last few months.
You are talking about outside of our regular Human
Outside of
Relations
regular
Commission
meetings.
meetings. Okay, that's what I thought. So I
Having
just
town hall
want to make sure.
meetings, the different projects and things that we're going to be putting together. We put it on hold because we were talking about having our two commissioners to assist us in strategic planning. So we can just wait on that if that is what you would like to do.
Do we need to approve the one that was in our packets of our existing meeting minutes? Or our existing
No.
meeting dates?
No,
That's
we're
published
just
and
gonna,
good there.
yeah, we're just gonna move it forward until we talk to and have our strategic planning session. Okay, any other questions or concerns? Is everybody clear on that? So we'll just wait on that. Okay. All right, our bylaws review we had during the pre-meeting. How do we want to move forward on that?
I would like us to continue to move forward as we have and have our vote up on the next meeting.
And we are going to get a clean copy of everything
Yes,
by,
before that meeting. And if I can do it before you'll get your agenda, so that can be included in that packet as well.
Okay, that will work. Okay, so we will move forward on the bylaws. Any other concern or questions? Not the Secretary Pro Tem section. We tabled it last time because we don't have someone to fill that position. Do we have someone that is interested in filling that position at this time? How do we want to move with this position, to table it again? Am I hearing table it?
So just so that everyone's clear, the Secretary Pro Tem will of course have less duties due than the normal secretary, and of course, numerous of us up here are familiar with the position. So if part of your concern is needing some help getting into the role, I'm sure myself, the chair, and probably half of the other people on here would be happy to help you. Otherwise, if no one's interested, then yeah, I think we'll have to just table it again.
Well, and I was even gonna suggest, I don't even know if this is a possibility, and this would get into more what we were talking about of like other duties, or like getting into more of that nitty gritty of those duties. But another thought is, if we can't get that pro tem, what about a vice chair stepping into that if we don't have the secretary? I've seen other commissions work that way in the past and other boards that I'm on. And that is, if the secretary is not there, it's typically, so it's not falling on the chair, it's typically the vice chair, which typically does not have as many duties in general during a meeting, can then do the duties of the secretary for that meeting. Just a thought.
It is a possibility. In fact, I think our bylaws already say something to the effect of the vice chair will fill in other officer duties as needed. So there's already something within my description, and is something that I can help with if no one is indeed interested in being pro tem.
Okay, our Article 2, Human Relations Commission, Article Section 38 through 31. We are not allowed to hold more than one position, if that is what we are talking about.
I would not be holding it. I'll just be filling it in like I've had to fill in chair once in a while.
Okay, so what do we want to do about the Secretary Pro Tem is my question. We want to just hold it off for now, because we can assign responsibilities.
I'd say leave it vacant and we can pull it off unless someone changes their mind.
All right, so we will table that.
Do
The
we
next
need a
town hall
motion to
meeting?
Table that?
Do we need to table it, or
Do we need a motion to table it, or can we just
We
table?
don't need a motion to table.
Is it to table it, or is it just to take it off? Because I don't think it's going to change in the next, I don't want to keep moving it. And by tabling it, we have to keep moving it to the next month. Is it something that we can vote at this time to not fill? And that the vice chair will do other duties as needed, or something along that line? I
Well,
don't know.
it
Say
may not be
something.
just the vice
Right,
chair
true,
that might do
true.
the duties, is what I said.
Say something like a motion to not fill into our next annual meeting. Is that what you're thinking?
No, that's not what I was.
Maybe as we get, if we get, if we get more commissioners, things are going to change, but like just for the time being that we leave that position vacant. I just don't want to see us have to discuss it every single month because we've tabled it, and that's what'll have to happen. We'll have to keep moving it. And so I feel like just for the time being, it's something we can easily put back in the minute somebody says, hey, I might be interested in that. It's something that can be added to the agenda and something that we can look at that point. I don't think it has to have a timeline on it.
Well, that's probably why. Yeah, that's why I say the annual meeting is in June, so that would be 5 months.
Instead of us doing that, why don't we just say that we will keep that vacant until such time as we have someone that is able to fill that position? So I would need a motion for that. Yes.
I move that we keep the position of Secretary Pro Temp vacant until a time that it's added on the agenda again to be filled.
I'll second the motion, Commissioner Ramos.
Roll call vote, please. Oh, we get it, what? Yeah, yeah, you're okay. Mhm. Will you repeat exactly what you said again? Slow it down.
I move that we keep the position of Secretary Pro Temp vacant until it's added to the agenda again for consideration.
Add it again for consideration. Mhm.
And Commissioner Ramos seconds it.
And now the roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Banking,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mayor Heath,
Yes.
Commissioner Bernard,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramos,
Yes.
Commissioner Patton,
Yes.
and Commissioner Boone.
Yes.
Okay, the motion to table,
Not table.
move,
To
wait,
leave.
can't read my own writing. I'm sorry. The motion to leave blank, to leave
Vacant.
vacant, I'm sorry, the Secretary Pro Tem position until added on the agenda again for consideration in the future was approved by an all yes vote.
You did it. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, next item is our town hall meeting. I was able to send you all some information about the town hall meeting. And we need to address a couple of the items that I put on there. And that is, we need to have someone MC the meeting. Is there someone that's interested in doing that?
Like, what are you wanting specifically in that request before I commit?
I have that you MC, mean you are the person that's going to do,
Just introducing,
but you're going to also be doing the opening. Welcome.
well, I'm more than welcome, but if somebody else wants to do it, that's perfectly fine. I didn't know if there were fielded questions, are there any questions that
We may have.
that have already been submitted ahead though, or anything like that, that specifically that maybe Sister Pat wants me to address? That's what I'm asking. I didn't know if there were specific things that she wanted asked even before you opened it up to public, just so that she can address those areas. I've been on a couple panel discussions with her in the past. They were on Zoom just because of circumstances in the last couple of years. And there were some preset things that whole panel was answering, but since it's just her, I wasn't sure, and that's why I was asking that question.
So is anyone else interested in being a moderator? Okay. All right, so the other one is a person that will help with the questions, taking questions from the audience. I could do that. We also will have someone to present the speaker. We will not be able to allow Commissioner Harvet to do it from Zoom. And I have the bio for our speaker and who would like to do that.
I believe that would fall under the MC, right?
It doesn't have to be the MC, that's what I'm saying. The MC doesn't have to do that. The moderator. Would someone like to do that?
I'm willing to be backup for the mayor, but
Well, that's not a backup. You
Yeah.
actually gonna do it. Are you willing to do that? Okay, so we'll put you down for presenting the speaker.
yeah, I can do that.
The other area would be that you can do that as the moderator, and that is the question and answer session. Q&A. Okay, that is probably all that we have. That's her bio. Any questions about Thursday? We will be meeting in this room. She will be addressing outstanding human trafficking, 20 ways you can help fight human trafficking, the U.S. government's response to combating human trafficking hotlines. She also had a chance to tell me of some other items that she would be willing to do. In her discussion, she's been working just about 25 years, I think she said. So she's going to have quite a bit of information. Some of you on the commission may have some questions that you'd like to prepare for the meeting on Thursday so that the discussion doesn't stop. What she did, she came early to see the room set up. So we're going to be right here, but we're going to also have a table there since we can't move the podium, so that she would have her area that she can put things down. She's going to bring some brochures and information to also pass out. So is there any other questions or concerns that we have?
It's not a concern, it's just a plug for this, that the last one that I attended, I thought, well, I know a lot of this, but I'm gonna go and be supportive, and I still learned so much, and you may think you know a lot about human trafficking, and you're gonna always learn something. It's very enlightening, a little bit scary, but very enlightening, and it's very, especially as a human relations commissioner, I think to be aware and what are the signs and what to look for is just so important, and because we are those people spreading the word and, and getting that word out there. And a lot of people don't understand all what human trafficking looks like. I learned a lot at the last one, and I feel like I will learn more again. And it's just, it's very educational and very enlightening. And I just think very useful and a great topic to learn more about, so that we can spread the word, that awareness has to be spread, and we can be those ambassadors to spread that word.
Question, so twofold. So not only trying to, as we have all put in our own social medias to try and promote this, but after the fact, when it's recorded and we can then send it out through our own social media networks. Again, I think that's an important reminder, so that people can watch it that couldn't make it, or it just quips their interest after the fact too.
That is the advantage that we've had, to be able to record, and also to have people on Zoom as well, because we didn't have that before. So we are so happy about that. Any other comments or questions about the town hall meeting? It starts at 6 o'clock. The doors will open at 1:45. Is that right, Michelle?
Yes.
So since the doors will be open at 1:45, we will make sure that we're here as timely as we can be. Okay. If there's, I think we probably should have some water here. I think someone take care of that, or especially for our speaker. Anything else that we want to discuss about the town hall meeting on this week? I did get in touch with the newspaper and also the radio stations. Also, some of us have placed it on our own personal websites. I've also emailed quite a few people. And so we may have more people on Zoom than we have here, but either way, doesn't matter. They're still going to be a part of it. She does have some guests she's going to bring with her as well. All right. Looking forward to it. All right, any other discussion for new business? If there's any items anyone would like us to discuss before we dismiss or go to public comment. Okay, hearing none, we are now open for public comment in the chambers. Is there anyone that would like to make a comment? They can come up and speak.
Robert Benke, 256 Ironwood Drive, speaking on behalf of the Lenawee County branch of the NAACP LEAD, which stands for Latino Leaders for the Enhancement of Advocacy and Development, the Southeast Michigan Migrant Resource Council, and the M Society. These four groups have gotten together and have been working with Robert Pena, a county commissioner from Ingham County, to come in and do a training on February 24th. That will take place from 1 to 5, and the topic of the training and title is entitled "So You Want to Run for City Commission." Thanks to our clerk here, Robin, who has provided some important information throughout that process, and then also our county clerk as well, who's going to be presenting at the program with Mr. Pena, along with other local individuals as well. Thank you.
Where will it be held?
The city library, couple buildings down. And Doug Spade's post has all the information as well.
Thank you. Any other comments in-house? Do we have any comments from our public on Zoom? Hearing none. Commissioner comments.
Just want to say thank you again for all the hard work, bylaws committee, on getting these bylaws together and making progress. And it's great to have this document. I just want to reiterate that again.
I just want to real quickly say something about, I think it's great that we're going with some sort of candidate training, and it's hard running for office. I have a little bit of experience with that. So it's always great to see some information out there to help people along the way. And I definitely hope it's successful so that we have many more people educated with how to run, and so they can make the decision of whether or not they want to go through the hassle. I hope that they will feel it's worth the hassle, but thank you.
I would say in an effort to get Commissioner Boone wet, do you have an announcement to share as well?
We're not at the announcements yet.
We'll get there though. I was already going to bring it up. Don't worry. Also, so our chair is really great at recognizing the service of everyone on the Human Relations Commission and the time commitment that and effort and work that goes into being a member of the commission. And so I'm going to recognize commissioners, and I know she's not here right now, but Commissioner Patricia Harvat for her dedication and service to the city of Adrian for the year of 2022. If we can all give a hand for that. Also going to recognize Commissioner Joaquin Ramos for dedication and service to the city of Adrian for the year of 2022. Also a certificate of service to Commissioner Lindsay Patton for dedication and service to the city of Adrian for the year of 2022. Also a certificate of service to Commissioner D'Angelo Boone for dedication and service to the city of Adrian for the year of 2022. Also a certificate of service to Commissioner Robert Benke for dedication and service to the city of Adrian and for joining us in September. So from September to December of 2022 and moving forward into 2023. Thank you very much. Here's a certificate of service for a very short-lived time, but we are very glad to have you, Commissioner Steve Gonzalez, for your dedication and service to the city of Adrian from November to December of 2022. And we look forward to a much lengthier time coming up here, and hopefully the entire year of 2023 and even further beyond that. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. And we're also going to recognize a certificate of service to Commissioner Ashley Cavazos Frank for dedication and service to the city of Adrian from January through August of 2022. And thank you for all your hard work during that time. And thank you to Chair Andrea Bernard for the year of 2022 of service and dedication and hard work and everything that you have put forth with the Human Relation Commission and all the years prior to that as well, because there have been many of them, and we just thank you and honor you and really appreciate all that you have done. So thank you, and thank you for recognizing all of the commissioners. I know that we don't always get recognized, and this is a thankless job. So thank you very much for that.
And Mayor Heath, we don't have yours here, but we like to recognize that we work for a very wonderful person. She has done so much for the city of Adrian in the time that she's been mayor. We look forward to continuing our service with you and appreciate you for all that you do. And wherever you go, we know you will be supportive. So thank you again for all that you do. Let's give her a hand. Okay. So if there's no other comments with the commissioners, I'd like to open it up for announcements.
So as Commissioner Venke alluded to, Friday, February 3rd, if you would like to see D'Angelo get in a pool of water and be very cold on First Friday on your Four Corners right downtown here. But he's also looking for donations because he needs to raise money, because you have to raise $500 at least, and we're hoping he can raise more. I am also going to be alongside him doing it as well, but I just thought I'd put the plug out there for him because he just told me that he doesn't have any money raised yet and he needs to desperately raise some money. And D'Angelo Commissioner Boone has literally been like trying to go outside and be out in the cold for lengths of time and he's actually preparing like this is an Olympic sport to be ready for this moment on Friday, February 3rd. So we hope you will come to see everyone take the Maple Frost Challenge and jump into that cold water and just support a great cause. Half the proceeds will go, he can speak to where he's sending it, but the other half is going to downtown Adrian for everyone that is participating. And then we all have different charities that we have chosen for the rest of that money to go. Mine is Autism Grace of Lenawee. I have an autistic son and I am on the board of Autism Grace of Lenawee. And I just knew if I chose an entity that I'm very involved with a lot of charities in town, and I didn't want to create an issue. And I thought that one works because I'm on the board and I've been very active with them. And it's a very personal thing to me, obviously. So that is how I decided to choose that, but I will let him speak to his.
I'm gonna start by saying I don't like cold water. But I'm looking forward to it. The charity that I chose was the CRM Middle Assistance Program of Lenawee County. It is a pleasure to serve in that capacity. Mayor Heath have worked alongside with us. We just got our numbers somewhat situated. So this year In 2022, we distributed from our regular pantry 94,000 pounds of food throughout Lenawee County. And through the fresh food distribution, we distributed over 60,000 pounds. So it's about 154,000 pounds of food that was distributed through our program this year. And where we are establishing new partnerships throughout the county. We are we got a few partnerships with a couple of elementary schools now, and we are partnering with Siena Heights University to provide food in their pantry and to deliver food to the campus as well. So we're looking to really push the program throughout the county. We have two other pantries in Lenawee County that we are establishing footprints with, so that we can get into more rural areas that may be underserved. And again, just looking to push the program. I think the design is unique. The app has a very different flavor to it, and it creates a pantry of choice. So people get to shop on the app. We deliver throughout Adrian, Michigan. So if you are a resident of Adrian, we deliver to you. And we've cut down wait time in the pantry itself from used to sometimes 30-35 minutes down to 5-10 minutes of wait time. So we're just looking to really continue to push the innovation, and we are grateful for all of our volunteers. So that's where my donation and proceeds will go to.
And I will say, I do work with D'Angelo a little bit on this once in a while. I can't take much, I don't do much compared to what, hey, he's got some amazing volunteers and people helping. But I will say, from being one of the people that does deliver food for the pantry, that the food prices have affected our community. If you don't think they have, they have. The amount of food that I'm delivering, I can't fit in my car anymore, and it's the same route. It's not always the same people, but it's about the same number of people on each route, but the amount of food they need, and they are, when I go to these homes, they are saying, we cannot afford food. We cannot afford food. Thank you so much. Like, we didn't know what we were going to do. This is so needed right now. And I know, because my food bill has gone up drastically. I can understand that completely. But if any time, just putting out a shameless plug here for D'Angelo's, plunge, but this is a group that desperately, can use any and all resources, because the work they are doing in our community is invaluable and very much needed, especially with the rising food costs right now.
Especially the fact that you deliver is so critical, because there's so many people that cannot get out. And especially during these cold times. And we just appreciate all that you do. Just give everything. Wonderful. Thank you. I have an announcement, but I also have been given a letter from Commissioner Lindsay Patton, and I will read it. I am writing to you today with a heavy heart, submitting my resignation to this organization. I appreciate the opportunity being on the board for the past 5 years. It has been an honor and privilege to serve on this board, but this community. I appreciate this community assisting me grow professionally and personally. I look forward to the future and what the Human Relations Commission offers our community. Thank you, Lindsay. With a heavy heart, we're having to accept her resignation. If you'd like to say something. You don't have to, but if you would like to.
I would just like to say thank you to everybody that I've met on the board. I've made some friends and just all the things that I've been able to do. So I just thank you. And Ashley, thank you. So yes, thank you.
So we'd like to have a motion to receive the letter of resignation coming from our Commissioner Lindsay Patton.
I will felt more comfortable with this coming up in new business, but I would definitely motion to accept. With a heavy heart, but I will motion to accept.
Second,
I'll reluctantly second.
who? Oh, Commissioner Banky. Roll call vote, please.
Mayor Heath,
Reluctantly, yes.
Commissioner Bernard,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramos,
Yes.
Commissioner Patton.
Yes.
Commissioner Boone,
Yes.
Commissioner Banky,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Yes.
The motion to accept the letter of resignation from Commissioner Patton is approved by an all yes vote. With a heavy heart.
With heavy hearts.
Thank
We
you for your
appreciate all the
service.
work that you've done. You've worked diligently. You worked on these bylaws when we first implemented them. You worked on almost every aspect of what we've done. And I really want you to know how much we appreciate you. And hopefully you will not make this your last visit with us,
Nope.
being
I
a
hope
part of
not.
us. Okay.
Thank you. Thank
We
you.
appreciate that. Okay, with heavy hearts, we thank you. The other announcement that I have is Together We Stand Black History Community Celebration will be Sunday, February 26th, 2023 at 3 p.m. This is Lenawee Churches and Community Members, hosted by Christ Temple Ministries International on Deerfield Road. This is our 28th year of having this event. It was not always called Together We Stand, but we're looking forward to everyone being a part of that. We do invite all of the political people in our community, our senators, our representatives, and especially our mayor, because she does the proclamation. And we appreciate that so much, that we don't forget about Black history. This year, it has more sentiments for several people because many people have passed on. Those that had COVID, or because of age, or because of tragedies that have been happening in our community. And we would just like to come together and celebrate Black history in whatever way we can with each other. So with that in mind, if there be no other announcements or no other comments.
I have a
Yes.
couple announcements.
I have one as well.
All right,
Well, first, I'll just like clarification real quick. You said that's at 3 p.m. on the 27th.
I will send you a
26th.
flyer. I will email you
All right.
a flyer. So,
Please do.
okay,
And then go ahead and go first, Banky.
Doesn't matter to me. The River Raisin Ragtime Review R4 performance for Adrian is going to take place Sunday, February 19th. This is for Black History Month concert at St. Dominic Chapel in Siena Heights campus. Concert begins at 3 o'clock. Tickets are $20 at the door. Siena Heights University students and faculty and staff are free. If there's any APS students that are interested in attending that event, if they can get with Mr. Gonzalez, I'm supporting 4 individuals to go there for that concert.
All right, can we get that sent to us as well?
Sure.
Cool, thank you. I just have a couple quick announcements. Of course, one you've already heard of. Come 3rd, we have First Friday. There's a few people that we're hoping to see jump into some water and raise some funds for charity. It should be an exciting time. On the 6th, on a Monday following that, we have a city commission meeting, which of course will be here in this building. And then on the 10th is second Friday, and we'll be at the library, just a couple buildings down. You won't even have to go down any stairs to get to us. We'll be on the main floor and be happy to see you. That's all I have for now. Thank you. I motion to adjourn.
Support.
I.
Aye.
Aye.